to this one.
Yeah, Paul Roos has done a wonderful job. The transformation of this football club under him, quite remarkable. It was a side that was beaten so soundly, so regularly, so often, with little resistance. It is a different outfit now, and Jamar goes hard against Witts. The opening bounce and the first clearance the way of the Demons. Watts, he's got Seedsman to beat the ball, bounces and beats both of them. Williams, early touch to Dwyer. Matty Jones, well, couldn't quite stick the tackle. Nathan Jones, he from 50 could get the first of the afternoon, and he does. Demons, a wonderful start in front of a big crowd at the home of football.
Well, could you ask for a better start at Queen's birthday? Melbourne's home game. The Demon supporters are out en masse, and to get a clearance, to get their skipper to launch one from the edge of 50 is just a brilliant start. We felt Lingy like they needed to do that. They want to get a bit of confidence in the way they are playing, and that is just a bet. You couldn't script it any better.
No, and the great thing involved again, Jack Viney got across there. Jack Watts was the one who made the tackle that created the spillage. The skipper, Nathan Jones, finished it off beautifully. It's that belief that if they hunt around the footy and they're strong enough in the contest, there's no reason why they can't knock off the Pies today.
23 seconds for the first goal of the match here at the G. Queen's birthday Monday. Really solid crowd building for this game as well. Goldsack driven forward in the tackle.
Collingwood free kick.
And umpire Luke Farmer today, along with Chris Camerlins and Robert Finlay in charge. Collingwood to their social club city end of the G. Loose one out to Marley Williams, who's filled in very nicely since returning to this side across half-back and the full-back line.
Underrated defence for me, BT. We're seeing Langdon combine, Marley Williams, Keith out here, Frost. There's 20 games on average between the four I just mentioned. They're the fifth best defence in the AFL. They are underrated.
Holding Nathan Brown out. Here's Elliott. The fly over the top. Yeah, Keith holding Nathan Brown out of the side at the moment.
BT, I can't wait. Jamie Elliott, he's a chance to take mark of the year every time he goes near it. Jeremy Howe's down there as well. We might just have a specky off today, I think, between those two.
Come from 5 deep.
Like Cirque du Soleil, Howe and Elliott for the afternoon just flying. Swan somehow into the hands of Beams. Garland with Blair, Grundy going to ground. Well, McDonald was with him, and Matty Jones at both ends of the ground doing it well. Cross to Grimes. Out of trouble maybe momentarily. Terrific from Tuvey from behind.
And hey, this is what Collingwood do exceptionally well. They're great at repeat forward 50 entries. They're great at putting forward pressure on. So this young Melbourne defence, when they exit out of this part of the ground, it is going to be under enormous amount of pressure.
Well, Jamar, year 12 against Witts, who's just starting his career. The Demons again just buying some territory. Frawley again looks to have Tuvey with him. We heard Buck say earlier that it looked as though Langdon would go with Dawes. They've never met each other. Oblique Dawes playing with the Pies for a few years. Frost wasn't about.
Gee, I wouldn't mind having a look. Perhaps an out of bounds on the full. The boundary umpire just about blew it there, but it doesn't matter because Collingwood have gone forward anyway. McCaffrey a high footy, the big spoil. Impressive from Tom McDonald. McCaffrey, fast hands, Pendlebury lightning, got it to Beams, didn't even think about the goal, got it to Dwyer, was a little short on the kick. Seedsman, funny little kick, good punch. Look at McDonald go from half back. Wasn't quite sure whether to get involved there, Dawes, or not. McDonald, very impressive. Now Grundy, a late call up in today's side, and Dwyer fiddles around the back half. Goldsack was attacked as Collingwood go forward again. Swan without success. And out the back door to this guy who's been super impressive, Bernie Vince.
Turnover though, and Dwyer brings it back inside to a man who's so reliable, and Pendlebury can have the first shot at goal for the Pies.
Well, Darsh, you called it perfectly. It's just the repeat entries of Collingwood at the moment, which is hurting Melbourne, putting them under pressure. Bernie Vince is a beautiful kick of the footy, but it was the perceived pressure then. Kicked it straight back to Collingwood. A nice little square up to give Scotty Pendlebury what should be an easy shot at goal for somebody of his quality.
So Pendlebury, who grew up barracking for the Demons, dreaming of playing for them, plays against them this afternoon. The point guard. A man who does everything so brilliantly and then some. Gets the first of the afternoon for Collingwood. Scores level at the MCG.
It's just class, isn't it? When you see a man with a footy, you almost relax if you're watching the game because you know that something good will happen. You know that he's got time, and it's just been a great thing, isn't it? Everything slows down around that man on screen there, Scott Pendlebury. Nice start for him, just checking it out on the scoreboard to make sure it was all above board.
Well, really interesting matchup there. Lyndon Dunn has got the huge job on Travis Cloke. I don't think any of us predicted that one. Dunn very strong in the contest, so I assume he's just going to try and hold off Travis Cloke in the body work and hope that he gets a third man up and a bit of help and a bit of support today.
Smart play by Jamar. Didn't win them the footy as Seedsman forward and Grundy with a nice grab with the Dukes outstretched.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise too. Grundy's been genuine full forward at the start of this game. He was swapped over with Witts at stages, but at the moment they really like having another big marking option down there. I haven't seen him do that a lot. If he can add that to his game, that's a good, strong mark right out in front.
And you're right, Darcy. He came at the footy like a forward, like a full forward, you know, really led at it strongly. Great hands overhead. And now he gets an easy shot as well. 40 metres directly in front. And it's just made it a little difficult. Didn't make great contact with the footy in terms of timing.
Boys, Dom Tyson has just come on the ground now. McCaffrey's picked him up straight away. Just been watching McCaffrey. He hasn't actually been sure where to go, but as soon as Tyson came onto the ground, he knew exactly where he was supposed to go.
So the human clamp has attached himself to Tyson. And Tyson on cue. That's hard to do, as Den says, just works it to the wing. Gawn with that height advantage over almost everyone in the league. Has it knocked out of his hands, and McCaffrey with a few options works it in the Cloke direction. Front spot well done, Lyndon Dunn. So a reasonable sort of a start for the Demons. They've held their nerve early. They got the first of the afternoon before the skipper levelled things up. The Grundy point sees them with their noses in front. Swan and Jones running together. Jamar against the youngster, Lumumba. Quick bounce, bit slick for him. Terrific stuff from Cross, just knocked it to Gawn. Tough at the ankles for him, and in the end it's Keefe who works it back to Beams. Blair watches on as Grimes over the top of Thomas sends it into the perimeter fence. And
a couple of those other matchups, Grimes is, you can see running there with Josh Thomas. They really rate him as a dangerous player. Also Daniel Cross is going to Dane Beams. They're going to put a lot of defensive time into him. Beams is a goal kicker as a midfielder. Can't let him get away.
Beautiful angle kick. Hits Young on the lead. On his favoured left side. And a bullet. But Lyndon Dunn read it nicely, and this time Cloke wasn't ready to come forward.
Like his setup, BT Dunn. He's giving away 10 kilos, playing right in front, which is probably his best option. They need to get this one moving quickly. There's options out. They're going to go through the middle here.
Well, Dunn and Pedersen, who have just become new players under Paul Roos. Dunn signed the 3 extension, went looking for Vince, did Pedersen, and wasn't taken cleanly, but they've got an opportunity here. And Salem, who's been so impressive, he's got a wonderful kick. He goes searching for Dawes Frost up to the challenge. The follow-up work was good, and underneath it all, it's going to be hard to come out. The ball was lodged.
He's going to
ping him.
That's a real shame there for Christian Salem. He made a fantastic decision to get forward, attacking, proactive play, almost ran onto a ball and had an opportunity to perhaps set up a scoring opportunity, a bit stiff with the holding the ball.
Seedsman and Young combined, both always gain a lot of territory for the Pies in the middle. Pendlebury, uncharacteristically, just a little bit of a fumble. Bounce, well, favours for Solo, Pies. Options, a couple of one-on-ones. Elliott, he's going to be against another high flyer, and Howe did enough.
You called it right. It's so rare to see a half a fumble from Scotty Pendlebury, but his ability to actually kick that while he was being tackled to a 3-on-1, it was just ridiculous.
How good was that?
Unbelievable.
Sensational stuff to put it to the advantage of one of his teammates under that pressure. Here he is again, Pendlebury, involved a lot early in this game, as we've seen. Bale trying to back out of the pack. There's Pendlebury again to Lumumba. Top of the square, danger here for the Demons. Elliott! He's had 2 grabs. Maybe it'll be third time lucky. Turlick out the back end as a result of the Elliott fly. And now Tyson, and he says, OK, fellas, let's just hang on to the footy at the moment and just settle things down.
Tyson just a rare bit of space against McCaffrey there, Lingy.
Yeah, and a great decision by Turlick to come up the middle. It didn't eventuate in a fast play, but it was still brave, and they've got to be brave against Collingwood. We spoke a lot pre-game about their Collingwood forward pressure. You've got to be able to take the corridor when they give it to you.
And that was a good kick. It was a mismatch. It was Maxie Gawn and Scotty Pendlebury had to cover him. They used the long target.
Well, Gawn's got that height advantage, and Witts and Gawn are in that order the second and third tallest players in the competition behind you-know-who. So they're going to have a height advantage unless they're on each other all around the ground this afternoon. McDonald, who had that stellar 2012, brings it inside to Jetta. Jetta, who's been upgraded given the Trengo long-term injury, and finds himself under Paul Roos enjoying a second opportunity after being delisted.
Just forward of the ball here, Jeremy Howe has just run down hard to take Jamie Elliott down to the Melbourne forward line. So getting Elliott out of his comfort zone, Howe trying to exploit him. It'd be nice if he just took Elliott down there, and he had a couple of goes to take a hanger.
And such a different 12 months. When Watts goes to the ball now, there's cheers. Last year, very different.
You see how hard he led for that footy.
We've spoken the pre-game BT about his speed. He has got it, and you're absolutely right. It's a 70-metre quick lead. You won't be able to stay with him with that sort of effort.
Jetta in the middle, so being really precise with their foot use. If they can continue this through the 4 quarters of the game, they're going to be in the hunt. It's whether it gets worn down or not. Salem, who's one of their better kicks, and not so this time. Pendlebury, who just seems to be everywhere at the moment. Swan combining, and Elliott down back, up forward, you name it. Here's Keefe to spoil Viney. The recovery by Viney was good. Even the handball out the back, Jones involved. And the other one, Nate, swinging ball, Frawley. Deep in the pocket, but he'll have a look from about 30. There's the angle.
Again, it was just such patient ball use by Melbourne, just controlling the footy. Collingwood did turn it over, but Melbourne were able to get that repeat entry. Nathan Jones, a good kick to advantage to Frawley. Tough shot from goal from this part of the ground, but
yeah, he has to work it left to right rather than right to left. Right to left's almost impossible. So see whether he's got that bend in his leg as he tries to. He's a right to lefter, and it was never going to be on. But Goldsack, we mentioned, was injured, and here's why. As we see just in that tackle, head into the turf. Hard tackle.
That looks like a concussion, doesn't it? We'll find out from Tim Watson shortly if that is the case. We've seen a few of those this week. You get your arms pinned and your head smashes into the ground.
So Marley Williams backs himself. He has been such a useful player since he arrived and replaced Alan Tuvey. Hasn't really missed a beat on field. Young, hardly sighted last year, having a good season. Hopefully his body continues to look after him. Swan back to Langdon, who hasn't missed since his debut. He's got Goldsack, who we just spoke about. He's moving freely again. He's been doing it all over the ground for the Pies. Grundy, after a week off.
That's a very good win by Melbourne. That's fantastic. The way they defended that. Collingwood love to be able to open the game up from their back half of the ground and get it moving quick. Melbourne defended it really well, cut out all the outlets, forced that wide nothing kick, ended up with a boundary throw in.
Jamar, the clearance numbers for the Melbourne football side so much improved since he's returned after an injury-riddled start to the season. Viney tries to get through the Frost tackle, gets it into the hands of Dawes, does well. They keep possession, retreating, now working it over the top. Bale, cross, finds Viney, who on his left. He'll get there in the end. Now who's at home? Gawn's got the height in the middle of it all. Big spoil from behind. Well done. And Goldsack, initial fumble. Cruising through Bale. Turlick retreats again. Pressure immense. Back to Jones. Jamar. Well, he was being hard-ridden by Thomas. And coming through Bale. It's still hot, this football. Salem front spot behind Williams. Well, the handball was on over the top. He was ignored, Grimes, and in the end, easy pickings for Clinton Young.
Been paying respect to the way Melbourne go about it, but that pressure from Collingwood was just sensational. Constantly attacking the man, forcing Melbourne into an error in the end.
Seedsman takes the kick inside that only the elite take. And here's the run and receive as a result of his initial kick through the middle. Took off a little bit more than he can handle, but in the end was able to flip the tackle. Marley Williams, initial bit of trouble, and now he's found space out wide for Langdon. Just retreats a little, give himself a bit more time. Blair's not the target in the air as Grimes tidies up for the Demons.
Again, well defended by Melbourne, but the worry is that run of Seedsman. He probably just bit off a little bit more, as you said, BT. But he was able to open up Melbourne through the middle. They've got to watch that, the Demons.
Well, Pedersen strong with the body, used it against Young early, positioned himself perfectly in the end. It is being alluded to early. He had a big wake-up call at the end of last year, and this season he's performed so well. Gawn set upon and somehow gets him into the hands of Watts. What can Salem do? He'll want the left as well. He won't get there in the end. Witts on all fours. Goldsack, a bit of support. Pendlebury is always clean. Combines with Lumumba and then finds Fasolo, who was outstanding last week.
The kick, marvellous from Pendlebury. Fasolo spent time down back and up forward and has done a good job in both of those areas. Cloak on the lead. Lyndon Dunn only interested in the man there. Cloak now committed himself to win the footy. Beautifully done out the little back door to Thomas.
Oh, that's so dumb from Travis Cloak. Oh, boy. He's lost his cool behind the play and just ragdolled Lyndon Dunn to the ground, BT, as they're streaming forward.
Yep.
It's just undisciplined.
And cost them a goal because they had the man over the top and they only had to get the skill right, and they were going to run into an open goal. Grimes and goes wide and finds Watts off half-back.
McDonald did a good job there, just blocking and allowing the mark to be taken. Pedersen, who's too far out to score. Jones pleading for it at half-forward. And then Frawley and Vince, Long, Bale, J. in the pocket, Gawn, Frost, Witts. He gives a bit of support. Let's go back to Trav Cloak.
So here it is. And a little bit of frustration there. That's always going to be a free kick. And there he is on the bench, just getting a nice spray, I reckon, from Buck saying, mate, you cannot do that. That is just, that kills us.
Well, McCaffer threads his way through, buys a bit of space, but Grimes should be able to, with a kind bounce, just mop up for the Demons. Gawn involved. The cleanest of handballs, but Grimes will work it to a man that's had pressure on him since day one, and seemingly is coming through all of it unscathed.
And again, we talk a lot about Jack Watts' belief. I love the fact he had an option wide and on the boundary there that he could have taken. He used the one up the corridor. Again, it's not translating into super quick play, but it's just showing an intent that we're not going to be too scared of this Collingwood pressure. We're still going to use the ball, play to our strengths, and Jack Watts has been leading the way in that.
And boys, Pendlebury's up to 8. Bernie Vince has gone to him. That would be a match-up at this early stage. It's probably concerning Port Roos.
Pedersen will find Jamar. Love the way Grimes in defence, and also Tom McDonald dish it off to the guys that can kick it. Rarely want to kick it themselves. Understand their capabilities. Here's Garland, half-back, finding it hard to penetrate this defence of Collingwood at the moment. Goldsack really deep. I'm not sure he had an intent to win the footy in the air, but he did well. Dwyer the give and go around the back. And now Young.
He pies on up the middle here. That's the one Melbourne have got to be careful of. Can't get opened up.
Here's Langdon. Needs to get it on the full. He does. He can go if he wants. And he looked downfield and didn't see much on, so happy to stall. Gives it to the kicker in Young. Back and try again. See how we go this time. Keefe going nowhere at the moment, the Pies. Eventually opens up down the middle for Seedsman. Got some speed. Blows past Gawn from 55 metres out. Grundy over the back, couldn't get there. Grimes did a super job in front.
They stick with us at quarter time. There's some breaking news on the Essendon champion and skipper Joe Watson, and Tim is going to tell us at quarter time the latest on that injury, which mightn't be great news for the Bombers.
So Gawn just knocks it down. Blair quickly to Lumumba. He's offline. I mean, how much has Seedsman added since he's come back into this side? He had that hip surgery in January, a delayed start, but a couple of games back and some serious run already.
Yeah, really like Paul Seedsman, and we've seen it. Great examples of it so far in this game. He gets the ball, he tucks it under his arm, he runs 10, 15, 20 metres, then he kicks with real penetration. He's one of the, what do you call an 80-metre player? And they're so valuable. Just gets so much run and penetration from his possessions.
You mean runs at 20 and kicks at 70? Is that the 80-metre player thing?
Runs at 25 and kicks at 55.
I know the maths. Dougie Hawkins style. There's Bale. Along the ground. Now he's paralleled that with the boundary line, and the umpire said he intended to kick it over. I reckon he intended to keep it in, but close to the boundary. Tuvey looking inside.
Once again, though, we've got 4.5 minutes to go in a quarter, and Melbourne have restricted aside to just 1 goal in a quarter. We talk about knowing what you're going to get from Melbourne. You know, if you play this team now, it is hard to score, and that's exactly what they're doing. They've only kicked a goal themselves, but I think they would take that a quarter time just to get into the minds of the Pies that they are in a serious contest here.
You look at their last 7 results. No side has won by more than 23 points against them, so they've done an exceptional job, Das, of keeping themselves in the game by keeping the scores low, as you say. Here is Tuvey, long footy. Grundy got the body position on McDonald this time. The punch by McDonald, though, realising his position was good.
Dustin, your point about Roosie tightening them up. Mark Robinson wrote an article this morning. Only 4 teams have been able to turn around a leaking defence by 5 goals or more the next year. The Demons have turned it around by 40.5 points. Lee Matthews did it with the Lions and the Pies, and you've got to go back to 56 since the side's been able to do it. So Roosie has just instilled this defensive mindset that was so different and so poor last year. The percentage was mid-50s last year.
Yeah, it's an amazing turnaround. It's a completely different side, and it's been over the course of 6 months. He had a pre-season, and we've had 11 games to do it.
Swan, well, front spot, right spot in the end for McDonald. So the Demons with some numbers on the outer side. Vince can go over the top, does, to a man that's got a bit of speed and dash. Dawes further afield, and Pedersen and Jones will now provide options if he's quick. He can go over the top. We'll find the former in Pedersen, and Jones has got Lumumba, and then there's 3 Pies inside 50. The Demons drift back. Garland's a long way on the other flank, screaming for it. Pedersen thought too far for my kick.
Just had James Frawley off the ground at that stage. He's coming back on now. They needed that one extra long target to kick to their Melbourne because they had broken free.
Well, a chance here. He kicked the first Jones and he retreats back to Dawes, to Viney, onto the left boot. Well, an ugly sort of a ball in the end. Was hard to take for Garland. The Pies have got numbers around the ball, but it's a pressured number. And the Pies, well, they do the right thing and they work into the hands of a man that rarely lets them down. A couple of bounces. He'll go and hope for a bounce to be kind. Would go all the way. Well, it just pitches and spins back.
And look who's first back in number. It's a Melbourne defence working really, really hard defensively. They got 4 or 5 back and can clear defensive 50 and maybe open Collingwood up another way here.
Garland almost colliding with Viney. And they are indeed, Das. A real big opportunity here for Jones. Matt Jones goes in there looking for Gawn. Keith did well to get back.
Good scrambling defence by Melbourne. As you said, Das, they got back in numbers, but then their ability to transition the ball the length of the ground there, find a player out on his own, that's been the real positive. They've got belief in their attacking play as well. They know they can hit targets, and they know that they can score eventually.
Under 2 minutes to the quarter-time break. Watts from the boundary line, bent it a little too early. It was a good kick, well executed, but not getting the reward he wanted.
Nothing wrong with that, though, BT. I love him having a shot there. There was no options on. If you're a good player and a good kick, back yourself in.
Here's that matchup that Tim Watson was referring to pre-game. McCaffer and Tyson. This a little into McCaffer. Some fascinating matchups around the ground. Dunn, Cloak, one of those, and Dunn this time flicks it over the top. Jones backs himself, gets around and pushes the kick wide. It's going to work out well.
Geez, that's a big one-on-one win for Lyndon Dunn, giving away 10 kilos, genuine one-on-one, found a way to bring the footy to ground and stop that forward momentum for the Pies.
Matt Jones to Frawley. Now the long ball, that Lover mark late in this term, inside 50, deep inside 50. Dawes not quite. Tuvey. Well, it's a risky kick, and Jones almost but not quite. Frost ensures that it gets no further.
Oh, well done, Nathan Jones. He would have loved to have marked that, I know, but the panic when that ball stayed in and thought, oh, perhaps Collingwood are going to run this one away. Jack Frost, just desperation to jump back on it, kill it, get a stoppage, give them a chance again.
Once again, Nate Jones through. Gawn did well to make contact with the boot. Now Grundy, and not a good kick. Melbourne got the numbers back, not picking their way through that. Tom McDonald just muscling his way through the footy. Jeremy Howe to Bale. Now Tyson. Time running out here in this first quarter. Just the 20 seconds for all he's going to have to go direct. Here they come on the lead. Dawes marks down low. And this will just about be kicked after the siren. Buckley realising the time.
Gee, how good are the forwards been, BT? Dawes pushing to the ball, Frawley pushing to the ball, Pedersen pushing to the ball.
That's your line, don't play on.
So Dawes is a big kick. He's got a textbook style. He's very erect in his approach, and everything he does, he's clean and clinical. And he's a good one to follow for the kids out there when it comes to the set shot art. I'm not saying he'll kick it, but he does execute it well. And that's nice. It'll just be off to the right-hand side, though. It was tight and from a long way. And can you believe it? Melbourne at quarter time by just 1 point. Hey, stay with us. On the other side of the break, the latest breaking news on Joe Watson's injury. That's next. Second quarter action to come with the Demons by a point. To take their positions. Crowd really solid here on a Monday afternoon at the moment. I would say in the high 50s. It's a good result. Second quarter to get underway. Melbourne by just the 1 point. Only the 2 goals kicked collectively in that first quarter. McCaffer for Solo in front. Beams running past the footy. Goldsack's tackling has been a highlight for Collingwood this year, and there is another example of it as Elliott tries to break away. Jetta says, no way.
You mentioned his tackling, BT, Tyson Goldsack. He tackles with intent. He tackles to hurt. He really wants to punish the opposition, not just put pressure on. It's a great attribute to have because it makes the opposition players get a little bit nervous when he's in the area.
Well, the Pies work it through, and man with the long left foot, Young, goes searching for Cloak. He's caught behind, well done in the end. Howe. He's been a revelation at halfback. He went back after they're getting mauled by the Eagles in round 2 and has never looked back.
Yeah, it really suits him, doesn't it? He can use his athleticism. He can read the footy well. We know how good he is overhead. But again, I love the support there. They didn't allow Cloak a one-on-one contest. Got back in number Melbourne to help out.
Vince, who hasn't missed a game after coming across from the Crows into the hands of a man who the Demons hope returns to that 2010 form where he kicked 30. Frawley. Much discussion about his best position and future. He's doing such a good job forward. Pedersen, big fly. Lumumba to mop up. Went one way and brought it back into the hands of Langdon with a look away over the top. Now Marley, Williams and Young. They combine. Lumumba dances through as he often does and takes his time, chooses the right option to Witts. The one-on-one on the outer side. Goldsack. Well, he lost his feet, but he might end up with a football. It's going to be Jetta who ensures it skips over the line. Talk about Goldsack. I mean, he's in every position. He's done such a good job. He's been thrown everywhere by Bucks.
He's one of those team players you just love to have in your team as the coach. You'd love to play with as a teammate. Whatever the role that's asked of him, he does it. Down back, pinch hits in the midfield, and of course, as that defensive forward as well. Really quality, selfless player.
Oh, he's kicked this time, missing the target, Keith. So it's a battle of the defences at the moment.
And remarkably, BT, Melbourne have had 11 of the last 16 inside 50s.
It was coming.
Of course it was coming.
Jeremy Howe with a ripper. Back inside, and now Bale.
It was almost like Jeremy Howe then said to Clinton Young, this is where I'd like to place it. Can you just sit at about the height above the Solo?
Grimes, so the transfer from north to south complete. The trouble is it ends with McDonald, and he's not the best kicker. He will go down the line and do what he's good at, and he does that to Jamar.
Game number 6 for Jamar this year. He's had so many problems with his body over the years. Never really put a full season together, just over 15 games twice. And with Pedersen, they combine. Dawes now the target, bouncing ball. Well done, Watts. Little spin into the hands of Tyson to Jetta. He just pulls the kick. Now, he's going to have to wait a long time, Howe, but again, in the air, he's strong.
What about that passage of play? We had Jamar punch a lead-up ball to Cam Pedersen. Here's a bit of Jeremy Howe. That's just one a week that he puts on display for it. That is an amazing talent. And now he's pushed forward. But that reminded me of the great Sydney Swan sides that were winning premierships. Lead-up targets.
Das, I'd be wrapped if I took one of them in my career. Jeremy Howe, he gets bored with just taking simple ones like that.
The club won't give him a videotape of his best marks. They'll give him a hard drive and we'll just lump it around with him. Howe, big mark, big goal. Demons extend their lead out to 7 points.
Oh, very good by the Demons. You said it, Das. Are able to just move the ball down the ground really efficiently. Cam Pedersen, terrific mark on the lead. And he just wheeled and went and actually created something. And then that man, Jeremy Howe, he took the hanger, then he backed it up, just floated into the forward line, took a good, strong grab. And really important, he went back and converted that. Melbourne have had a lot of the play. They need to keep that scoreboard pressure.
So Melbourne by 7 points, and an example of what that man is capable of. Jeremy Howe does it with such ease and regularity. Out of the middle, so just pressing at the moment. Collingwood have been crunched for time and space here at the moment. Swan over the head of Lumumba under some pressure. Matt Jones couldn't handle it. Lumumba, he went back to where Jones was always going to gobble him up. Now the clean-up complete from McCaffer. Kick needed to be a little further in front. Jetta now brings it to ground. Elliott with a tackle. Tried to come out with the ball behind his back. Magician style. That umpire, Lee Fisher, he must be a replacement for one of the 3 umpires that were listed to call this game today.
Tim, you mentioned that Pendlebury matchup. Bernie Vince still there with him. It looks like Jack Viney's getting him in general play as well. Is that right?
No, I think Pendlebury started this second quarter on the bench. He's just come back into the game, so Vince actually had a break as well. He's come back into the game and he's gone straight to him.
Dust, the last 3 years in this game, the Pies have averaged 32 points a quarter. It's a different outfit.
Yep, only scored 8, and we're 5.5 minutes into the second term. It's a very, very different challenge it is these days playing against this Melbourne footy side.
And all of the players say it's because Paul Roos makes their roles so simple and so clear. They've got a roadmap, and it's pretty basic, and all they've got to do is what Paul Roos tells them to do. The Pies, nice transition to the other side. Young, short to Thomas, clean take, gets away from Turlick. They work it down to half forward. Elliott, who's had just a fabulous season, the leading goal scorer, but right there he has a poor moment. Well, Demons fans this year excited and in full voice. Billy Elliott, he's really narrowed the gap between his best and worst. Last year had some big hauls and then 6 goalless games. He's been goalless only once this year, and that was in the hiccup against the Crows on the Thursday night.
It's a good description, narrowing the gap between best and worst. That's what your coach wants. They've got a genuine little punch on here. Bernie Vince has taken exception to...
I'm not sure how you pluck out a holding the man when both players are wrestling. I would have thought they're both holding each other.
Yeah, Bernie not happy with that.
So Grundy turns and goes. Cloak will get there, but it's a real deep one. Favour his left side. So he is a chance. Let's have a look at that decision that was made.
Almost initiated by Scotty Pendlebury and then Bernie Vince. And I'm with you, Lee. He had him pluck one way out of that.
That was a remarkable decision to get one way. Cloak across the face, stays in the field of play. Witts came from too deep and gone. Just smashes it through. So doing all the little things right here at the moment, the Melbourne Footy Club.
That's Cloak's first mark this afternoon. Between Cloak, Goldsack and Grundy, they've taken 3 marks. At the other end of the ground, between Dawes, Pedersen and Frawley, they've taken 14. So it's really working for Melbourne when they get the ball in their half.
Vast contrast, isn't it? Cloak and his best form. They've been living in different rooms for much of this year. They got together last Friday night and he's been quiet this afternoon, as Tim has alluded to, the Demons. Hopefully, we're hoping Cross can get in the right spot and does. Inside quickly to Watts. So some tall targets get moving. On the end of this one is Pedersen again, strong hands.
And a brilliant kick from Jack Watts. He summed that up perfectly, stepped inside the traffic. And a little 40-metre dart is exactly what you want if you lead hard like that.
So you focused on him pre-game, Das. Pedersen's just been terrific this year, and so, again today, really good.
Dropped 4 times last year, and in the wilderness, he hasn't missed this year. 11 from 11 games-wise, through for a rush behind.
Well, to me, that's the art of coaching, isn't it? How do you get people to improve? How do you get everyone on your list to be a better player week in, week out? And we're doing a graph of who's improved the most. He might be it, Pedersen. He's come from the bottom of the list. Could not have been closer to getting moved on, and now he's a genuine regular contributor.
Grundy around the corner to Frost. Frost at halfback, saw his brother play the other night for GWS, and he's becoming almost an identical defender that Frost is here today. Melbourne again just steady as ship. Turlick, and they've got Gorn on the way out if they want. The kick was always going to be too long in the air, so Turlick says no. I'll go back and find Frawley.
And you notice what happened there, BT, and you called it well. They went backwards, Melbourne, only because they were under extreme pressure. Collingwood were bringing that frontal pressure. They've always got that release valve where they can just relieve a little bit of that pressure, take stock again, look for a better option. Really well structured and set up in that back half of the ground.
There go the Pies. They could have kept going there. Decided against it, Josh Thomas.
And Paul Roos doesn't like opposition midfielders getting too fat. He's made that change now. Cross has gone from Beams to Pendlebury, and Vince is now picking up Beams.
He did a great job, Watto, on Beams. Beams only had the 5 possessions on Daniel Cross.
Blair, front spot, just traps it in his ankles and then lost it. Salem, he's got Pendlebury to beat, and Blair just sharks the ball, sends it wide. It's going to favour Gorn, and the Demons have got numbers where they need them in the back 6. We've got a couple on the wing. Young, though, just split the both of them. Williams, again, quick. Watts, quick thinking. Now to Matt Jones. Doors short. He's got a one-on-one. Pedersen and Langan, if he's quick. Thomas is going to charge back. And Thomas might just get into the right spot. He did a good job. Undersized, but read it well. Poor kick.
Yeah, terrific team play by Josh Thomas. Needed help then, Tommy Langdon, exactly what he got from Thomas. Cut off the lead. That's great selfless running.
Do this part well across halfback Collingwood, but then they're kicking to the contest every time they attempt to go deep in their forward line. Now Elliott. Good tackle by Blair. We spoke about that before the game. There's a good example. Blair makes sure he's okay to go, and a very unselfish play to McCaffer.
And that's what Nathan Buckley would be desperate to get. Elliott, who's had some great little forward pressure there from Blair, just putting the Melbourne defence under a bit more heat. There's the turnover, and a bit of poise at the end as well from Elliott, centering ball. In fact, it was Blair who got on the end of it and applied a bit of this heat back to the Melbourne defence.
McCaffer, of course, early in his career at Collingwood, spent most of his initial years trying to play as a deep forward. So this wouldn't worry him, the set shot on goal. Good-looking ball. Yes, it's all about the accuracy. And Collingwood get their second goal.
Yeah, McCaffer, that's a real bonus, isn't it, if you're a tagging player. He's going to run head-to-head with Dom Tyson. And as the man sitting alongside of me did a lot, Cameron Ling, kick goals and you tag, it just rubs the nose into it of the guy that's supposed to be winning the footy. So he'd be enjoying that. McCaffrey, he wanted back to the centre, stand alongside Dom Tyson.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, this is that small forward pressure that you were talking about, Das. Elliott coming back to the footy. Blair coming back to the footy for Solos there as well. Just buzzing around. Eventually gets a shot at goal for McCaffrey and he kicks it. But it's just that perceived pressure of all those quick small forwards hunting the footy and hunting the opposition.
A couple of new teammates, Cross and Vince combined, but Dwyer read it like a fieldsman in the outer, went back and safely took care of things for the Pies. Again, Cloak a long way from home. Strong hands in front of Lyndon Dunn. Mentioned earlier, Dunn, an extension of 3 years on his contract, enjoying life under the new regime at Melbourne. Pedersen at both ends of the ground. Howe can use Turlick. He runs into a bit of trouble.
And look at him get around Goldsack, because that is exactly his role. With some aggression, get in the face of the opposition and make the defence a little nervous when you pick up the footy.
Witts and Jamar both go to ground holding each other. Now, Goldsack again just doing the bullocking work for Collingwood. Turlick played underneath Paul Roos, and he was apprehensive when he came to Melbourne, thinking, I'll let him go. I got rid of him off the list. I wonder how he's going to respond, and apparently he's been outstanding, Turlick.
Grundy knocked down, looking to clear it from the traffic. Blair snuck out with a handball. Grundy around the corner, missed the lot.
Not a great day when the coach who sacked you turns up at the new club that you're at. You know, they don't have a smile on your face.
Roosie would love the fact that he's responded in the fashion he has, though. Wouldn't have been bitter about it. We've just said, well, I've just got to get on and improve and impress him this time around. That's exactly what Turlick's done.
Done out wide, Cross, not Marion, known for his aerial skills, getting it done there. Jamar, half-back. Can go here, Melbourne, if they want. Bale. Just needed to reel it in, he did. If he wanted to take him on, he could, but he decides he'll just go the present-up little option to Viney. Viney, nonchalant handball, Cross again. Not the best part of his game, the kicking. That's not a bad effort to get it out in front of Gawn. Watts caught in the Keefe tackle. Got rid of it just in the nick of time, but umpire Lee Fisher said illegally so. And Keefe at centre-half back.
So the Demons, as they did at quarter time, lead by a point. The Pies, though, pressing here. Out the back, Grundy quickly gets in front. Clever stuff from the young South Australian. Caught out initially, Pop got in front. Terrific mark, opportunity for a goal.
Yeah, spot on, Hayne. Outstanding body use there by Brodie Grundy. And this is the type of stuff that you can't really teach. Here's the holding the ball decision against Jack Watts. Had an opportunity, just dropped it on the ground. But look at Grundy, out of position, moves McDonald around, drop of the ball. Fantastic play there by Brodie Grundy. That's why Collingwood love him so much. He's got the footy smarts in the ruck, as well as the ability to take a mark when he gets in position.
So debuted round 18 last year, was the 4th ruckman, and suddenly he's become, Jared Witts, the number 1 and 2 big men. He's offline again. He's presenting opportunities, just not finishing. No leader at the G.
He's got good foot instincts as a forward, I reckon, Grundy. As you've seen him come out, take a good mark. That's a good contested grab.
Yeah, you're right, Dars. 2 or 3 things we've seen just in this game today show that he can play as that deep forward if that's what the game requires. There's Swan. So Collingwood just owning the footy in their half of the ground in the early parts of this second quarter. Witts. And providing this man holds up in the middle of the ground, it's going to allow Grundy to play those other roles, and noticeably today up forward. It's a very methodical game from both sides, the way they're using the footy at the moment. There's no run and go. Grundy again. Now this is a big kick from here. Acute angle, as you can see. We'll have to kick it 52 or 3, and it will need a fair bit of left to right on it. 10 goals, 6 this year for Brodie Grundy. He thinks he's got the distance covered. Which way will he work the footy? Looks like a little right to left. Good looking ball on line. Always wondered whether he'd get it. In the end, Gawn gobbles it up a couple of metres short.
Gawn's a bit of a surprise packet, is he? I mean, he looks like a backpacker. He's got great hands, great speed. Right there, poor kick. Lumumba receives from Grundy over the top beams. Having a huge year. Dwyer, limited opportunities quickly. He's offline too.
He's an unusual cat, Haim, I agree. But someone's going to get out to him and say, Maxie, little short passes in defence, just not quite your go at the moment. Good defensive mark. He had to kick that another 25 metres and leave the finessing to maybe a few others.
And that's what I'm sensing here today, is they're gradually understanding that Dars, not on that occasion.
Yeah.
Who can kick it and who can't, who can make which kick and who can't. And perhaps just a little bit more fine-tuning there. Viney knew the moment he let go the ball that Tyson was going to be under pressure. Tried to reel it back in. This gave Blair the opportunity he needed. Tried to muscle it out. Tuvi's there as well. Picks up, but Howe's got him. Elliott will have a crack now. Strong stuff in there, and McDonald just heads for the line. Didn't take it over. Could have got pinned and eventually conceded.
And BT, that kicking thing, it's not a disrespectful thing at all, is it? It's just a simple reality. Some are better kicks than others, so use them.
And when you tell the players that, and I'm doing it at country level at the moment, some don't understand it, they just don't understand where they're at in comparison. They do something else well, not necessarily kicking.
Absolutely.
Garland, well, that's a poor kick. Marley Williams will get there first. He's got a man in front to use if he wants to, will, and get it back for Swan. Inside, pies everywhere.
They have lifted their rating, Collingwood, here, and haven't been hurt on the scoreboard yet, Melbourne, but pies are massively on top at the moment.
They've got to be wary a little bit, Melbourne. Clint Young's had the 15 possessions, getting some of those good ball users of Collingwood on the end of it now. I've got to stop that.
Chance here for the Demons as halfback. They'll end up with it through Dawes. There's a loose man, Frawley, on the wing. He's chosen in the end, and Jamar now just drops his head and runs back. He's turned and given another option. Frawley's ignored him for the moment. Over the top, he'll go to Matt Jones. Bouncing ball, takes it cleanly. Back to Frawley. So again, Dawes has a heap of pies to beat. 4 pies, 2 Demons. One of the D's goes to ground in Watts, allowing Thomas to go back. Turns Viney inside out. Well, front spot this time, Vince.
Oh, well done, Bernie Vince. Read that well.
Hard to beat Penderbury. On that occasion, he did. So Gawn,
That's it, Clint.
right on his distance, you'd suggest. Jones.
Well, even this, unless he's got an obvious target, he had a one-on-one down there, Watts, and also Jamar, so...
Scott, that's it. Mine.
Well, all but 1 pie in the defensive 50. Lumumba plays the percentages.
Have a look at this, guys, just showing how many Collingwood players are close to the footy. Now, this was a mark or a free kick, I can't remember which, but the Collingwood players, look at them. 6 of them within about 15 metres, not willing to spread, all coming in close to receive the footy. Got to get on their bikes and start to run from the contest. Here's Dwyer.
So saw there that Bernie Vince has gone back to Pendlebury. Hopefully we'll speak to Bernie Vince at half-time as the players are coming off the ground and find out exactly what the match-up's all about there.
Gee, that was a good kick to Young then. Now back inside to Elliott. Elliott a little bullet to Blair. Elected the chest, and that's okay. Turlick there, wearing him like a glove. Done all right with Blair when the ball's been in his area. Beams needs to lift a little. Good kick to Cloak, and don't worry about this. The man on the mark's at 50, but Cloak can cover this distance when kicking well.
The feel of watching this game, the last 8 or 10 minutes, it feels like it's all Collingwood winning the footy, controlling it. But this new Melbourne team, they don't get hurt badly on the scoreboard, even when they're down. And, you know, with a couple of minutes to go to half-time, they just want to hang on to half-time and make sure it's not a big margin.
It's the thing, they only need to play well for 5 minutes and they're in front, Melbourne. Cloak from 50, close to the man on the mark. Got all of it, but just pulled it searching for the journey. So 2.5 minutes remaining in the half, and just a 4-goal game in near-on perfect conditions.
And remarkably low scoring, isn't it, BT? Melbourne have got to be on their game now, though. Das just said it, that Collingwood have just wrestled control back a little bit, a bit of momentum. They've got to make sure they don't concede late goals here, the Demons.
Just back to Cloak, Lingy. He's had 4 goalless outings this year. In a couple of them, he's scored 3 behinds and 4 behinds. He always gets a lot of the football, just not necessarily ending in majors.
Yeah, oh, he's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
He is. I know he's, by his standards, been a quiet year, but he's still getting a lot of shots at goal, and he's very, very dangerous when he gets going.
Well, 2 goalless games, 7 behind. So if he's able to straighten up, he'll find a lot of confidence, and he might find it right now.
He's starting to get those shots now.
Yep.
One-on-one, and Lyndon Dunn caught out. That's the imposing size of this man, who's also a massive work rate individual. He just covers the ground, and not much Lyndon Dunn can do there.
And there is a lesson for any young footballer, any young person watching, how to protect your space, use your body to take an uncontested mark. Brilliant by Travis Cloak.
So just the one behind for the afternoon to date. He's starting to get a bit of the football. They like it when he does that. Splits the middle, Cloak's first of the afternoon, and the Pies skip out to a 9-point lead.
Oh, he's a good player, Travis Cloak. He marks the ball well. As we saw just then, he turns contested marks basically into uncontested marks just through really clever body use, really strong body use. When he gets that confidence up and he starts taking those marks, going back and kicking those goals, he is an absolute gun.
Speaking to Harry Taylor on Sunday, and he said, Cloak and Hawkins, in intra-club matches, there's no tougher bodies to move.
2 in a row for the Pies. First time they've kicked consecutive goals in this game. And as Lingy alluded to, just nearing the half-time break, something that Melbourne needed to protect a little. Out of the middle, Thomas got pinned. He had plenty of prior, and Melbourne don't wait. They want to go. A rare opportunity for them to go quick doors. Beautiful spoil by Frost without infringing. Excellent defensive work from him.
He times his spoils perfectly, Frost. He's got great speed. He was able to close doors down in the end there.
So often, Darcy, you think he's a step too late, and he always seems to get an arm in there, a bit like Fletcher. Speed is immense.
It's that closing speed, Hayne. Yep. The best have got it. I'm not comparing Frost yet as they get a holding the ball decision here for Melbourne, comparing to Scarlett, Fletcher and these players. But all those guys have got that closing speed to just get that fist in when it doesn't look like they will.
Well, they'd love one late here, the Demons, just to get it back under a goal. They led by a point at quarter time. 2 goals to the Pies in this term to just the 1 goal to Howe. Pedersen tries to just bustle his way through. And he's going to get an opportunity to sort of put it into the arms of Bale. Just placed it there for Bale to go and get. Swan. Still time for the Pies to go forward. Jetta holding. He was, so Jamie Elliott will get the opportunity. No, Cloak.
That's what Travis Cloak does to his opponents. They start getting nervous around him. They start giving away free kicks.
Just been told we will hear from Bernie Vince at half-time as one quick kick is required from Seedsman. It's going to end up being too late for the Pies. So at half-time, just the 5 goals between these two sides. Melbourne have been averaging 32 points against in each quarter against the Pies in the last 3 years. They've kept the Pies to 25 in the first half, but right now, Demons trail by 9.
Last 12 minutes of that quarter, Collingwood had more than 77% of the ball in their forward half of the ground. But Melbourne only kept them to 2 goals, so it's a 9-point margin at half-time. They are right in the contest. The Demons, despite Collingwood, I think, being way on top in that last period of the second quarter.
Well and truly in this contest, stats right across the board, pretty even, inside 50s, contested possessions, all the ones that matter as the Melbourne players gather in now. Lyndon Dunn's the one addressing the team, just pointing out the things that they've done really well in this first half, but they know they've got a huge second half of footy ahead of them as we head down to Timmy Watson, who's got Bernie Vince.
Bernie, right into this game, a solid first half of football.
Yeah, we thought we were right in the game, and we knew Collingwood would come out nice and tough. It's the way we want to play, keep the scoring down and tackle hard and see what happens in the second half.
Maybe a little bit more patient with the ball across half forward or across the central part of the ground.
Yeah, we identify that. Their mids like to get in deep. As soon as there's a turnover, they get in deep. So we need to use that short one a bit more. That's what Rudy spoke about at quarter time.
You started on Pendlebury. It looked like at one stage there you might have gone off him for a period of time. Is that right?
Yeah, I was sort of trying to get to him at stoppages a bit, but he's a great player, so he's hard to stop.
Good luck in the second half.
Thanks.
Pies by 9 points. Demons within striking distance. Half-time at the G. Including caretakers and 6 captains. Ruzi is now all about providing some stability.
Who would you believe if you were James Frawley out of all of those 8 coaches about guys that have told you how to play? I mean, it's confusing for him.
Second half about to get underway. Collingwood with their noses in front. 9-point leaders, a goal each in the opening quarter, 2-1 in the second as Jones quickly moves the Demons into attacking territory. Matty Jones, Bale, it is in the end, picks it up and around the corner quickly to Dawes, who gets slung in the tackle. Nathan Jones sidesteps through 1, works his way through 2, to Watts, to Jamar. Bouncing ball for Pedersen to deal with. Viney, who we heard from at half-time, off the ground. Langdon, cool in a crisis, over the top he goes to Keefe.
Keefe releases a little bit of pressure, or does he? Able to pick it up, but the kick was poor by Jetta. Tuvey was there to go at him and close the space on him. And it was well done.
Let it go. Let it go.
Viney and McCaffrey wanting to go on with it.
The great part about that, BT, you said the poor kick, but what about the follow-up? The tackle there by Neville Jetta, didn't give up on it, didn't worry about that first mistake. Really good play, and a brave decision by him initially to leave his opponent come across and intercept that footy. Really well done.
Neither sub been activated yet. Viney just had to get it down, and in the end straight to Elliott now. Collingwood out the northern side of the ground here. But once they get to this point, what have they got?
And they won't be happy in the coach's box, Melbourne. James Frawley just had to find a way to make that footy come to ground. Create a 2-on-1.
Poor kick by Thomas. And now Melbourne into this possession game and just try and chip it forward, limit the run from the opposition.
Collingwood have got to be smarter here. They're just going to keep trying to use those hit-up kicks. Almost need to just play a couple of metres in front, stop the lead.
There it is again.
Got to know where that ball's going. Melbourne are opening up that space for that lead really well. Just play up 5 metres in front of your opponent.
Kind of hurt himself a little, Frawley, when he fell then. He looked a little uncomfortable. Seems to be okay now. Maybe just out of breath. He worked so hard. Here's Turlick.
It's good pressure from Collingwood. They went to go back to try and open up the other side of the ground, but the Collingwood forwards were really pressing up on their man, not allowing anyone to get out of the loop.
Typifying some modern footy here, that players refuse to kick it unless they've got someone that's clear and open, until it comes down to that kick there from Frawley, who eventually lost patience and just went the one-on-one down the line. Free kick going the way of Collingwood here. Josh Thomas right in the interchange area. Backwards, Langdon, almost as if he's having a kick in the backyard, just nonchalantly over the top to Williams, and now Elliott can penetrate through the middle of the ground. Nice low kick. Goldsack the target. Both hands on it. Turlick did well not to infringe. Now McCaffrey kept his feet there, refused to go to ground. It was really well done. Now an opportunity for Thomas. Got a little flick pass in there from Beams. Blair out of trouble. Elliott couldn't get there. Pedersen, I think it was, over the top. And now Melbourne, or will they? Frost with a crunching tackle. Releases for Swan.
Long ball inside 50. Who's there for the Pies? Beams. Well, he and Cross had the nil draw, and Jetta gave a bit of support. Watts did well, worked his way through. Well, just a step too long in the end.
And that is where he's just got to change pace, Jack. Did really well, pirouetted once, and then he just gets into a bit of slow motion footy. Takes a couple of quick steps, he probably got through.
So Goldsack, the chosen one, but Lyndon Dunn. The three demons and just Goldsack. It was always going to be a tough essay to write.
Just stepped up the defensive pressure, Collingwood. We saw Tyson get caught there, and then Jack Watts as well. They just have to be aware, more aware, the Melbourne players, when they've got control of the ball.
Well, both demons went to ground in the end, and Lumumba just swooped in, picked it up, and suddenly it's Jamar who's got to respond, and he does.
Terrific grab that. That's what you want from your ruckman.
Well, Watts has got Vince with him. Vince will know he's there. He's got some space. And well, it took a while to get in. Then Grimes can continue on. Watts should run by, and Frawley can go over the top. Does so. Dawes. Watts will keep running. Might end up on the end of it. He's run 60, 70 metres. He's ignored.
Oh, that should be 50.
Well, Tooby got in front. The long ball gone in the end.
Spot on, BT. That had to be 50.
Well, he hadn't called play on, and he was in the protected 50 zone. Look at this. No play on call, and he's in the protected zone.
That's why that rule was brought in, to allow players to be able to play on and move the ball quickly.
I think he just missed it, the umpire, whether he was looking downfield or whether it was in between umpires, I'm not sure, but I don't think they made a mistake. I think they just missed it. Well, that's sort of half a dozen to one, isn't
Yeah, but they
really?
didn't see it and ignore it. I think
No.
they just missed it.
Exactly. Dwyer to Grundy. Offhands Young. Wants the give and go. Didn't quite have the space this time. Lumumba breaks through the middle. A rare opportunity to fast play, and that's what can be done when it happens. Goldsack.
Yeah, that's where they've looked at their most dangerous, Collingwood, is when they've had Seedsman burst through the middle of the ground. The Harry L take off and just clear the middle of the MCG out, and Goldsack, who's just a disciplined player. There it is. Take them on, run and bounce. And and they split them open on this occasion.
That's a real win for Nathan Buckley's coaching too, because Harry's actually been playing in the midfield and he's been opposed to Nathan Jones for that very reason, to expose him like that.
115th game. He's a real veteran of this side now. Goldsack, some would say. Good-looking kick as well. 3 Collingwood goals in a row.
He's like a yoga instructor, isn't he? Just get into any position and get it and do it well. He's been swung around today into about 3 or 4 different positions, and Premiership defender went forward in 2012, and now it's wherever I need a hole, you go and fix it.
And he doesn't just play as that defensive forward. He does that so well. It's the ability for him just to keep popping up, kicking 1 or 2 goals, setting up 1 or 2 goals. So valuable when your defensive forward can do that.
Well, he's started to become very valuable to Nathan Buckley, and when they needed him to deliver, he did, in front of a big crowd on a cold day here in Melbourne. The Pies by 14 points now and starting to get their hands on the football. Frost, just a little fumble. Pendlebury works his way through. High for Blair, but managed to take care of it in the end. Wide ball, Swan. So Goldsack again, the forward that's chosen.
5 metres. Back here, Tom. 9.
Well, bulleting ball in the end of Thomas, who will be right on his distance.
This forward burst from the Pies. You go back to half-back, 50-50 ball, and Scotty Pendlebury just wins so many of those at the right time. Created this opportunity.
So Thomas, another of these young Pies. He spent 3 years doing his apprenticeship in the VFL, and he's become a player that Bucks goes to often. On this occasion, not his best effort.
No, not his best effort, but as you just said, Das, it's the worrying signs for Melbourne is Collingwood are getting the ball, they're taking that game on, they're taking it on through the corridor, they're using each other, they're looking to play on. Melbourne have got to be really careful now. They don't get broken open and too many goals scored against them. And this is what they've done well, though. When they've felt the pressure, they've just gone back into a little bit of possession mode, just controlled the footy for a little bit.
So it's almost like a plan B.
Yeah, I think it is, BT, where they don't want to get scored against now. They don't want to get scored against too heavily. So just control possession of the footy. That is a risky kick, but that's a really good kick.
If only Richmond could have done this last night and had a bit of control when North bombarded them. Pendlebury strangely dropped the opportunity there. Vince went through with power and speed and force, but luckily for him, he made no contact. McDonald, Goldsack, and if you haven't heard the news, Buddy Franklin cleared by the match review. And they just missed there. Shoulder to, or elbow to shoulder contact.
Next goal in this game for me is massive. Low scoring contest. You think if Collingwood kick one, they might just run away with it. Melbourne desperately need this next goal to give them some belief.
Yeah, 20 points or 8. Big difference for the D's, who only scored 17 in the first 2 terms and change. Pedersen gets himself into a good spot. Ball just into the arms of Matty Jones, but he in turn in the arms of Billy Elliott. Pedersen stands up in the tackle. He's trying to get rid of it. Umpire isn't going to blow holding the ball.
But well done by Pedersen, well done by Jones. Collingwood again looking for that corridor, for that switch and quick ball movement. Slowed them up, create a stoppage. Now they can just set it up again.
Jones, can he somehow get boot the ball? Does. Now a bouncing ball for Billy Elliott, unkind. Jamar loses his feet, keeps his head, works it onto the hands and into the hands of Finey. Jones, well, he had Pendlebury. The pressure was immense, and the Demons, though, can somehow, if they can work it back to Vince, find a way forward. Well, there's only one there, 2 Pies. Keith has the height, Tuvey provides the cover.
Yeah, Tim Watson at ground level before mentioned just the intense pressure of Collingwood at the moment. It's relentless, and just starting to get on top of this game.
Here's Seedsman again. You mentioned he opened him up with a run in the first quarter. Here he goes again. Little kick to McCaffer. Back to Seedsman from 50 metres out to arouse the Collingwood supporters. He misses.
Gee, it's a good run though, isn't it? Fantastic run off half-back from Seedsman. Bit of love going on there. Bit of friendly wrestle. Taps there from Dawes and Jack Frost. You don't mind a bit of that in a game of footy. But it's Seedsman's run, it's McCaffrey's run, it's Lumumba's run hurting Melbourne at the moment. They've got to respond.
And that right there is Tyson with the run, but his kick let him down after a lot of good work from halfback. And the Pies on the rebound now. Again, long ball inside 50, all Demons. Swan never in the right position. Lyndon Dunn was. He can combine with Jetta. And Gawn's calling for it across the ground.
Thanks, Alex.
And then nothing really obvious down the line.
Moving on.
So to a pack that will form, again, it'll be Gawn with the height.
The thing Melbourne have got to do now, though, they've stopped the bleeding a little bit, stopped the momentum a little bit. They've still got to find a way to score. They can't go too slow, too safe. They need to score to create that scoreboard pressure.
They've scored 2 goals for the afternoon. They need to score 3 to get themselves back in front. Matt Jones sweeps the handball. Grimes. Well, Jamar's leading Keefe to the ball. It was a tough one. Bounced at his feet and skipped over. So 2 coaches, masters of their craft. Paul Roos needs to find a way not only to stop the bleeding, but as Lingy said, score and score reasonably quickly.
Betting the message out to McDonald there, just to make that little kick to the short present up that he ignored. Trying to create something that wasn't there in the end. Langdon. Dwyer, defensive goal square. Marley Williams loves the left side. Little chip ball. I'm not sure who that was for. I reckon he was meaning it for Lumumba, but Seedsman, who's had 7 running bounces. Look at this. He'll 1 and 8. There it is, number 8. Another handball. Hopefully another give and go. Lumumba needs to go outside wide to Grundy. Just got hooked in the tackle, though. Well done, the Demons. They could feel it building. And now on the counter-attack. They've got the player in Tyson over the top, but coming off the bench, Tuvey was able to stop that play. Now Dawes. Can they go quick inside their 50? Tyson threading the needle with a little grubber. Frawley, intelligent play. And now it starts to slow to a halt as Collingwood converge in big numbers.
BT, I reckon it might be time for Melbourne to look at bringing Kennedy Harris on. What they're really lacking at the moment is somebody that's got genuine leg speed that can break the lines and break open that part of the ground between wing and half forward.
So Kennedy Harris and Ball still wearing the vest. Long ball inside 50. Frawley just threw Keefe out of the way. Lost it in the air.
It would add another dimension to their game for him to come on right now.
Certainly would be, T. Bit of that genuine leg speed, as Tim just said. We saw that matchup between McCaffrey and Tyson. McCaffrey on top well and truly in that matchup. Tyson's just got to work out a way to get through that tag and have a real positive impact on this second half.
Well, Bernie Vince just a half opportunity. Like MacGyver, doesn't need much to work with, but he's created something beautiful. Demons get the one they needed. They needed that goal.
Oh, they did indeed. Hammer, it's absolutely just kept that bit of belief there for Melbourne. Might have just started to get away from them. Bernie Vince has been a great addition to this side. He really balances the midfield out. It was a beautiful kick. He gets in the right spot. And now we're back to 9 points. And you're starting to think, OK, we are able to restrict their scoring. If we can get a bit more free run, we might be able to pinch it here.
Fantastic goal here by Bernie Vince on the run from a forward stoppage. Great goal. The even better thing about it is the fact he's on that man there, Scotty Pendlebury. Huge win. You need to make sure when you've got to run with roll, you're kicking goals on your opponent to make them accountable to you.
Only halfway through this quarter, boys, and Nathan Jones is about to get his 15th possession here. If he keeps running, he will. No, a Shepherd instead. And the punch away from Williams. Salem needs to get the Dukes extended on that one.
He's been brilliant, hasn't he, BT? Nathan Jones, just a terrific leader of this group. 24 possessions for the game.
Grundy wasn't quite sure where he was going to hit it in the end. Confused himself, I reckon. Gawn, Keefe, Vince, milk to free. Got a little love tap.
Straight up.
And there's the boots. Have a look at the wheels Bernie's wearing. One pink one and one aqua colour one. And they're going to be a feature in the World Cup coming up. And Bernie's just trialling them at the G today.
And the boys are wearing them too. The guys who are sponsored by Puma in order to raise money for charity. So Puma are going to auction those off, BT, which is fantastic.
got to be a certain type to wear them, though, I reckon. Just have a little bit of fancy on yourself.
Elliott the spoil to Lumumba and Langdon, who takes on one, doesn't get around the second, but got rid of the football. And Vince can gather, kick the last, the important one for the Demons, and I'd love to go back-to-back. Oh, terrific stuff from Frost.
That's a great one-on-one mark against a big unit indoors from Frost. Is a very much improved young player, that man.
Just gained 13. He plays it like he's been around a long time.
He looks like he's a 200-game defender. And it's one of the great things about that young Collingwood defence. They've got Langdon, they've got Frost, they've got Marley Williams, all inexperienced, but all very capable.
Pendlebury beautifully around the corner. To McCaffer, to Thomas. Well, it was a bit hot for him in the end. Jetta. Pressure was good. Grundy, the pick-up and the give. Excellent from the big man. Now, Dwyer just needs to settle here. The kick not ideal. Heard the umpire. The Demons through Garland, Jetta and Jones. Now into the middle, Pedersen. The runner is Dawes. He's ignored for the moment.
Kennedy Harris getting ready to come on here, so I reckon they might take one of their big guys off Melbourne.
Yeah, Big Maxi Gawn might be the one, I think, Watto. Right beside the big tool for that extra bit of run.
Rowan Bale just gets hemmed in on the outer side. Watts works his way through. Doesn't like anything forward, so brings it inside to Neville Jetta. Again, there's runners from the Demons. Well, Tyson got through Goldsack, cloaked like a brick wall. He pinned him.
No one there deep for Cloak, so he immediately has to look sideways. Here comes Goldsack, be cut off by Dunn. Now a 3-on-1 here for Melbourne. Gawn, Turlick and Matt Jones all combining to remove the ball from that deep defensive position. So 6 minutes remaining until three-quarter time. Still just the 7 goals collectively kicked and a 9-point Collingwood lead. Grimes, and what Melbourne have done here with such a good defensive output is they've kept themselves in the hunt for when the game, and if the game does open up at all. And it takes 10 minutes of good footy here, and Melbourne are away, and so are Collingwood for that matter. Watts over the top. Matt Jones in the middle. Had Collingwood players left, right and centre. In the end, couldn't clear them. Lumumba to Goldsack. McDonald can't get back to influence, although his presence does. Now the handball to Blair. Caught in a thumping tackle by Bale.
What defensive effort that is from the Demons. They didn't give up. They're turning it over regularly here, but you've got to love the fight.
There was a big battle be won, and the D's did win the battle. Lumumba runs into a bit of trouble. Over the top, Josh Thomas cloak. Hard football right now to get into the hands and onto the boot of anyone. Long ball, last man, Lyndon Dunn.
Luke Ball just preparing to come on the ground too, so it's going to be Collingwood's inside midfielder against Melbourne's outside runner. A great battle for the last quarter.
Absolutely.
Melbourne players look exhausted home after that passage, don't they?
Oh, it was a hard ball to get into the hands of anyone with any time at all. Pedersen did what he needed to do.
Just has a great crack, Cam Pedersen. There's no other way to describe it. There's the sub ready to come on eventually, and I'm with Tim Watson on that. I'd get Kennedy Harris on, but he just presents hard now. He lays good tackles, Pedersen, when it's time to do it, gets himself in the right spot.
So 1 goal, 1 each in this third term. Margin remains 9 points as it was at half-time. The D's led by a point at quarter-time.
Bale, one-on-ones every time the ball goes forward. Here's Keefe. Dawes had to use his soccer skills. Was a soccer player up in Queensland, Keefe. But Dawes, aggressive competition. Marley Williams somehow came out with the ball. A driving kick. Thomas in position here. Grimes did well not to panic. Not once, but twice there, Grimes. Really well done. And Tom McDonald centering ball straight to Blair. Blair 55 out. Hurried the kick a little. Offhand Swan, quick snap, miss.
So they're just defending for their life at the moment, Melbourne. They are under the pump. And Tim, is Luke Ball's got the vest off. Any sign of who the man who's going to come on?
No, not at this stage, but I think Paul Roos might send a message out to McDonald and say your left foot's just for the brake in your car, nothing else.
Well, the Demons being asked question after question, and right now they're doing well. They need to just continue on for 3.5 minutes, keep within striking distance in a low-scoring affair on a Monday afternoon. Jamar, front spot, the two big men fly. Jamar, second effort.
He's been good since he's come back in, hasn't he, Das? Just that big presence in the middle part of the ground.
Former All-Australian in 2010, the big Russian Jamar, and 30 years of age. I think he's got a lot to offer for a couple of years. He just does the right thing, competes hard.
I don't know how many people thought Spud Frawley Jr. would be a good forward option, but he's been terrific this year. Presents again. Now this is tough for anyone forward of the ball. Dawes out the back, knocks it to ground, recovers. Jones, he works his way back into a position where he can deliver to Jetta. So Jetta's thinking he might just be too far out now. Gives it off to Vince, who's gone long. Umpire hasn't moved. Whistle's gone. Demons fans haven't heard it.
So that is bizarre umpiring, and I can't work it out. Bernie Vince is entitled to get in the protected zone if he wants to.
Yeah, I think he right off his line.
The umpire said he wanted to put him on the angle as well.
That's very technical umpiring.
From that far out it is.
Call play on. If he wanders off his line.
He wanted 5 metres off. He's hold there. We've got to bring him around eventually.
Yeah, call play on.
That's a really good point, Das. If he's 5 metres off his line, call play on. He chose to. He wanted to give it to Vince.
Well, Lyndon Dunn this time provides the run. Long ball downtown, offline.
He's gone off his line there because he's gone about 5 metres sideways. I agree. Just call play on.
Unless you're going to set the bloke on the mark every time around the ground, they take a mark, he can do what he likes.
So 2.25 minutes remain here in the third quarter. Crowd right into this game. Horns are locked at the moment. No side willing to give. No little breaks being sensed yet. Beams into the middle. Gets it back and just sends it sideways to Swan. Swan was off before he'd won the footy. Good ball to Cloak. Thought about Swan, and now Cloak's left standing. Nice, neat little kick. There's an opportunity for the Pies. Beautiful kick around the corner to Pendlebury. And Luke Ball, the sub who just came on, to Pendlebury. And Pendlebury lessens the angle and finds Elliott.
1 metre back here. 1 metre. Come back a bit.
Tim, is it Alex Fasolo we just saw on the screen there? He's come off. Is that just a match-up decision, a game decision, no injury?
No injury, but he's had a quiet afternoon for Sol, just 5 touches, so it hasn't been his best afternoon of football.
So Elliott lines up. Fasolo with the red vest on. Elliott directly in front to make it a 15-point lead with 1 minute going. Kennedy Harris has come on the ground as well. Elliott misses to the right, so both subs activated now, and Jamar getting the red vest for Melbourne.
Is that a bit of a surprise to us?
Yeah, it is. I thought he was really important for Jamar. That's a terrible kick in on the siren. I was about to say that miss from Elliott was going to hurt. Not play on. Jeez.
So Elliott just works his way through Kennedy Harris. He missed earlier and he misses again. This, in fact, no score at all. So the Demons led off twice as we approach three-quarter time. The margin now 10 points. It was 9 at half-time. Well, this has just been a disastrous 30 seconds. Beams, he doesn't let the Demons off. He's first class. And that's a dagger in the heart late in the third.
Well, unfortunately, you can't coach for that, and Lyndon Dunn just waves the hand down. But I go back to the fullback kick-in. You've got to take responsibility. It was a time, sure, that's a 20-metre pass, and you've just got to mark that. It's an absolute coach killer. You would be beside yourself. But you've got to understand it was how kicked. That one goes long to the boundary. You've got to understand it's deep in the quarter. You set up again. So just the inexperience, they're a developing side, have been made to pay Lingy in a bad way.
They have, Das. It's only a tiny thing, but I like the fact that a number of Melbourne players got across to Kennedy Harrison. He's come onto the ground. He's in his first season. He's just come on as the sub. He'll be shattered with that mistake he just made, dropping that mark. A lot of Melbourne players get across there and support him, get his head up.
Paul Roos frustrated by this last minute or two from the Melbourne side here, coughing up some opportunities, and here's another one with 10 seconds remaining. And a free kick here, I think, or is it out of bounds? No, it's out of bounds. So with just 9 seconds, Collingwood are the only ones that can score from this position. They lead it by 16. Witts, knocked down Swan, left foot shot, it'll count. Out of bounds on the full.
Done a pretty good job on Dane Swan, just 17 possessions. Hasn't had his normal massive impact on a game.
Do you reckon this one will be going long, Das?
That will go as far as Lyndon Dunn could possibly kick it. He's pointing game.
Get down the line. Only a second or two left, basically back into play. And there it is, three-quarter time. Still very tightly fought. Both subs have been activated here. Stay with us. Collingwood lead at three-quarter time by just 16 points. 5-10-40 to Melbourne, 3-6-24. Former skipper Nick Maxwell watching on this afternoon. Collingwood trail by 16. Start of the last quarter. Anyone's game. Will it bust open or will it continue to be a tight defensive contest? And when do you go for it if you're Melbourne, if you're still this margin behind halfway through? Here's Swan. Able to feed out the handball to McCaffer. McCaffer into vacant territory. A lot of Melbourne players around Vince. Ball ran straight at him. Ball deflected, though, to Howe, and a neatly controlled kick by Howe to cross.
Luke Ball started as a sub. Tim Watson asked Nathan Buckley pre-game why Ball to sub. He said it might be really handy for us to have a hard inside clearance player in the last quarter, and that's exactly what Luke Ball's doing for them at the moment.
So Witts, the intercept mark and the long ball, Howe front spot, Blair almost able to break free, but Pendlebury, what can he manufacture? Just takes his time, buys time, off to Blair, suddenly into the hands of Beams. I'm going to start for the Demons.
It was a really poor clearing kick by Melbourne. Just kicked it straight back to Collingwood. They can't afford to do that. They've got to be smart with their ball use out of the back line. Then when they get the opportunity to move it quick, they can go for it. Kicking it straight back to Collingwood's just going to play in their hands. We've been speaking all day about their repeat entries. Once they get it back inside their forward 50, they score really well. Another shot at goal here for Dane Beams.
Had that exceptional 2012 best and fairest All-Australian, rugged 2013, and this year it has been all class from Beams. When he's been needed, he has delivered, and he's delivered again for the Pies. He's a blue chip stock for the Pies. He's a great asset. The Pies skip away.
Hasn't found the going all that easy. Dane Beams, they've done a great job. Daniel Cross mainly has shut him down, but he's a brilliant goal-kicking midfielder, and even on a quiet day, bobs up with 2 goals. Dane Beams got a great ability to find major when they need one.
He's got that consistency now, hasn't he, where he stays in games. He said he hasn't won a heap of the footy, still the 2 goals. Quality.
Kick 5 of the last 6 goals here, Collingwood. And the kicking action of Dane Beams. Good get through the footy there. Nice ball drop, and just the tattoos look a bit different. In the middle, Witts bundled out of the way. Keefe off the back of the square, got in there very, very quickly. So what do Melbourne do now, Cameron Ling? 22 points down, very early in the last quarter. What are they trying to do?
A lot of their basics have got to stay the same as far as their work around the ball and their ability to win the ball. But now they've got to do things like this. Take the game on, go quick.
Jones does just that. Now looking for someone to come at him. Kennedy Harris preferred to stay at home. Jones wanted him to come. Marley Williams, I thought he deliberately put the head there, Marley Williams. He's been given the benefit of the doubt. And now to Frost in a dangerous position.
And once they get the ball in this part of the ground, they cannot let it out. They've got to do what Collingwood does well. They've got to get repeat entries. Even if Collingwood get it back, get another entry by defending really well, get another shot at goal.
Well, a must-mark job here for Pedersen, and the umpire said, I've paid the mark.
Straight to him. Do a scan, marks again. Time back on.
Well, a lot of movement forward of the ball, and Pedersen, in the end, chooses a man that had a very ordinary last 60 seconds of the third. He'd love to repay Paul Roos right now.
Yeah, and he got a few words at three-quarter time, chatting to Kennedy Harris about his mistake. He was pretty soft for a kick, that one. Coach not overly happy with that decision. Now you get an opportunity to try and repay here. Can he slot one from pretty difficult angle?
Well, he's been a goal scorer, 7 goals from his first 10 games. On this occasion, he'll struggle to score at all. He sneaks it in for one minor score.
They do need to take their opportunities. What they've done well is Cam Pedersen took the mark, defended well. They forced that long kick down the line. They can't let easy exits.
He looks down in the dumps, Kennedy Harris. He got a pasting from his coach, Paul Roos, at three-quarter time, about the last couple of seconds of that third quarter. And interestingly, no one got over to him after that. I'm not sure whether anyone saw it and tried to get him up as well. Still looks a little down at the moment.
I reckon the other thing he has to do, BT, is maybe push up the ground a little bit too. That's where he can really use his pace on those long searching runs on the way back.
Caught a little deep, you reckon, at the moment, Tim?
Yeah, I'd like to see him right up at this stoppage, around this stoppage on the defensive side of it and running through.
Yeah, Tim makes a really good point. Even looking at that stoppage there, really stagnant. Both teams just standing around, a lot of wrestling going on. You get somebody like Kennedy Harris, who's fresh, who's quick, on the move there.
Running through the stoppage.
Running through the stoppage. You never know. You get a hold of one of those, you could run through and kick a goal from 40 or 50 on the run.
Well, he's getting closer. Let's see if he does it this time. Another one here is about 15 metres off the ball to the right-hand side, on the right side of your screen. This is Paul Roos at quarter time. He picked him out, found him, and he wasn't sure where to look, Kennedy Harris. I felt so sorry for him. But anyway, here we go. Watts into an open goal. Little chiseler offline. Big miss from Jack.
He's been kicking those too. The last month, he's been very good kicking those goals. He'll be disappointed with himself in that one. That's the sort of thing that can give your team a huge lift.
So I don't know, BT, you're the goal kicker on the panel here, why you don't kick through that one. Good forward pressure here from the Dooms.
Well, Keefe finds beams, retreats. The pressure from the D is very good at the moment. Seedsman, short ball, and a safe ball. Langdon back into the hands of Keefe. They're going to be rare, those opportunities that Watts had, and you sense it. They're going to be far and few between, and mistakes like that will mean that the Demons fans walk away disappointed. So Blair buys some territory on the outer side. A little nudge in the back perhaps from Vince, but wins the battle. Gawn squeezes it over the top. Too much for Cross. Blair will swoop onto this. Jones, the tackle terrific from the co-captain. He is an unflinching, resolute, dogged footballer, and right there he hunts and captures.
That is a ridiculous decision.
I'm not sure he's got a prior opportunity there, Hame. I agree, it was a good tackle, but terrible decision.
Vince, right now Pedersen has an opportunity. We mentioned they're not going to get a lot of them. They need to score 4 goals to get themselves back in front. This is one opportunity they can't afford to miss. He's been terrific this year for the Demons. They would dearly love him to kick it all the way. Last line gets cut off.
They're attacking now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pressing, Wingy.
They're coming. They've just got to have the composure.
Back into play. Collingwood starting to go into slow mode and almost save game mode, but there's a lot of time left. There's 19 points, the margin, 14 minutes left, and they are living dangerously, the Pies. Handball to ball, and Thomas combining and got the overlap runner outside. Here's Seedsman. Had the most running bounces of anyone on the ground. Salem tries to run him down. Seedsman, a beautiful kick to Swan. Strangely, didn't come at the ball, Swan. Backed away from it. I thought he could have marked that. And now Frost.
The Tyson kick, not ideal. There was only one man out there. It was Frost. Seedsman. It was meant for Elliott. Dunn turns it over. Dunn brings it back into the hands of McDonald, who's got a runner over the top. He's going to be ignored. Well, initially anyway. Howe ends up with it.
Again, it's a really good look at what I think Collingwood have done well. They've manned the mark quickly. They've really pushed up on the Melbourne defenders and forced them to do this a lot.
Big fly from Pedersen. Again, Kennedy Harris out-muscled in the end by Young. The bigger body just sort of pushed him off the football. Still in play.
That's where I reckon he's dangerous, though. That ball almost came over the back to him. When he's got a bit of space at that part of the ground, that's when he really can open up Kennedy Harris and break this game apart for him.
Well, right now it's Vince who's got his hands on the football, but a few Pies are ensuring it's not going to come out. And he's got some real speed, Tim, if he can get into some open space.
That's right. He hasn't got strength. He just needs to have some clear blue sky around him.
Gawn. He's got Witts and Grundy to beat in this last 30 minutes. Demons have got to somehow conjure up 3 goals and change. 4 would do it. They've only scored 3 for the afternoon.
See those contested possession stats, 86, 89. It's really tight. Collingwood pride themselves on contested possessions. Melbourne in front at the moment.
Yeah, it'd be a huge win in one area of the game that Melbourne are working on. Collingwood very good at it.
Somehow Blair got Howe under the footy. Now that's the right call. You run off the mark deliberately like that. Just call play on. No angle there. What's different about that one? Kennedy Harris. And a high one on Elliott. Jenner it was, in fact. And Elliott will get a look for a high.
Well, let's have a look at this replay here, and he collected a little bit of the head. I suppose technically that's a free kick, and it's the leap of Elliott that forces defenders to just have to extend, and it's a great asset, isn't it, when you can get a standing start, the amount of vertical jump at the footy like he does. He's a pretty rare sort of talent.
So Elliott to make it 3 Collingwood goals in a row and get it back out to 25 points. Kick on the way, looks pretty good at the punt road end. Collingwood by 25.
That hurts, doesn't it? When Melbourne had all the attacking, they had opportunities to kick goals. Collingwood are able to just bring it down the length of the ground, lock it in there for a little bit, waste a little bit of the clock. They get their shot at goal and they go bang. Make it very difficult for Melbourne from here.
Just had the answers at the right time, haven't they, the Pies? Have been able to step up when it's needed. A goal. It certainly hasn't been a dominant display, but just a pretty impressive one all round.
It's a big assignment right now. Pies have kicked 6 of the last 7. They're out to 25 points, and they've just quietly slid into the top 4. They've won 6 of the last 7 coming into today. So much fanfare over other sides. They've done their business just quietly but very well after a slow start against the Dockers in round 1. They lost to the Cats in round 3, and a hiccup on a Thursday night in Adelaide, but other than that, they have had a terrific season. They've set themselves up really nicely. They look like they'll grind out a win this afternoon. Ball just, this kick ricocheted. The Demons, a half opportunity on the wing. This pressure from the Pies has been outstanding. We talk a lot about the Demons and their improved game, but we're taking probably a little away from
We are, Hammer. I think Collingwood are in sensational shape. Nathan Buckley last year made some really brave decisions on some senior players. He's sure, moved on. He was happy for Alan Didak to retire. He decided to make this his own team, and they, I think, have got huge upside. They're 2 top 10 draft picks we haven't even seen yet, Scharenberg and Freeman. He's got a defence made up of mainly rookie-listed players with the 5th best defence in the AFL. I think this list is a very, very good one and very well coached.
And the road ahead looks okay. They've got the Hawks a couple of times, which isn't much fun, and Port, but I reckon in almost every other game, BT, they'll go in as favourites.
Yes, they will. And Collingwood have won, if they win tonight, will have won 7 of their last 8 games. Nice mark by Cloak on the lead.
He's the other huge upside. If he gets going this second half of the year in the finals, Collingwood go to a whole new level again. When he takes marks like that, it was an outstanding grab on the lead with an opponent right on his tail. And when he's at his best, he slots these.
These are the ones he kicks.
Western Bulldogs next week for the Pies that Eddie had. Just got a little close to the footy when he was kicking it. Cost him a couple of metres in flight. But you're right, boys, when he is going well, he does kick those with pretty much a lot of ease. On the other hand, for Melbourne, they've got Essendon at the MCG next week, North. So they've got a reasonably tough couple of weeks coming ahead.
It's the positive, isn't it, within the negative? I mean, he had a quiet year, Cloak, 16 for the year after his kick one today, and everyone else has helped him. A lot of goal scorers, big spread, Jamie Elliott. Has scored one in every outing bar that Thursday night. Cruising on through now, Jetta. Into the middle, Watts. Frawley, he provides the lead. Watts just ran into a bit of trouble and had to retreat. Gawn. He goes long, pulls a kick. Vision was okay. Cross. There's 2 kicks from home.
It's a good opportunity for Melbourne to actually practice a bit of fast play. It doesn't matter if they turn the ball over a couple of times now and it costs them a goal or 2. But really, when you're going to lose the game, what's another goal or 2? If they actually practice really fast ball movement now, they might be able to show themselves that they can score 2 or 3 goals in a hurry, which when they're shown another game like this, they can do it later on in the year and they might pinch one.
68,124. Great crowd. It betters the average between these two sides of 65 since the inception of this game in 2001. So 3,000 above the average crowd is a really good result and indicative of the way Melbourne have been playing this year. It's their home game. Klumpus finds Vince. Vince to Howe. Funny little kick. Did the job though, and Viney will get a look from 45.
Well, to your point, BT, these Demons, a lot of them would never have played in front of a crowd this big. For Collingwood, it's just standard fare.
Absolutely. I mean, Collingwood average at this ground, I think, just over 70 for the last couple of years. 68 here today. Great thrill for the Melbourne players and good for them to get used to this environment. Viney must kick this goal for Melbourne to be an outside chance. And he has missed it by a fair way. Swan trying to backhand it. Dawes to keep it alive. Young and Keefe accidentally ran it over the line.
And there's a couple of those young players, Salem, Jack Viney, even Dom Tyson a little bit, haven't had their best games. They'll learn from this. They'll learn what it's like playing on a really good quality midfield like Collingwood. And they'll only get better from here. They're very, very young players.
Salem just 18 in game 6 and Viney just 20 in game 22. They've got a lot of football ahead of him. Beams, he's had so much brilliant football behind him. And Cloak, well, the service right there, impeccable.
Yeah, great pick up from Beams. Turned around, Lyndon Dunn, he'd be frustrated. He's really had a good night, I think, on Travis Cloak. There's the numbers. He had 23 himself. Cloak 12 and just 1 goal. It was a surprise matchup. I didn't see it coming, but he's another of the improved players, Lyndon Dunn, and his Paul Roos coach side.
We're effusive in our praise of Dane Beams, so that delivery was just extraordinary. And Travis Cloak, as he would have liked to have done, finishes perfectly and rewards the Pies. He's got a couple now. Confidence was built last Friday night. He looked a little bit out of sorts early, but if he get another 1 or 2 late.
Yeah, it's interesting what just kicking goals does to a key forward. They just feel good. It's what they do. It's what their job is. But I thought, I agree with Das. Lyndon Dunn's been terrific today. Undersized against Cloak. He's won some important one-on-ones. He's a hard man to beat one-on-one, Travis Cloak. So good job by Dunn.
So here's that brilliant pick-up from Beams. He too hasn't had his all-time best night, but the A-graders, and I've got him absolutely as one of the A-grade players in the competition, find a way to still have an impact.
What about the umpires bouncing in the middle here today? I think that was about the 14th centre bounce, and they have not had one recalled today that I can remember.
You like to keep a close eye.
It's a record, Das. That is a record.
And it's nice. There's a positive tinge to that one. You've had a little go at the boundary umpires.
I defy anyone to tell me that that hasn't been achieved before. That is remarkable. No recalled bounces. Well done. Aren't taking defence here, Langdon. Marley Williams on that favoured left side. What a ripping kick to Blair.
Gee, there's a lot to like about Langdon and Williams down back for Collingwood, isn't there? They back themselves in to take marks, to win the ball, and then, as you said, BT, just beautiful kicks of the footy.
Grundy got the bun in the hair, Das. Would you have ever attempted to play with a bun in the hair?
Never considered the top knot. I think that was probably going to be my go, but it's pretty popular with the next generation. Hammer, you've seen a few of them getting around.
Look at that. Look at the members there, Das.
That's sensational, isn't it? And great for Collingwood, who I think are on track. But for Melbourne supporters, they haven't had any joy for a long period of time. Got friends in Barrack for Melbourne who are now actually happy in their life again. They can see where this side's headed. They love Paul Roos, and they're competitive, and they actually have got something to look forward to.
I agree 100%. Lingy referred to the fact that they're coming in early, reserving their seats, and they've been given some soprano-like beatings in recent years. Margins sort of the have hovered around St Don's average, and it's just been an unpleasant way to spend your afternoon. But now they come, and Ruzzi's got this team believing with confidence, and they'll get beaten today, but they won't get beaten like they did 12 months ago. It was 83 points last year. Mark Neild was asked to leave the building, and a crowd like this was unthought of. Huge crowd, huge belief that the club is going in the right direction under Peter Jackson. And Collingwood, they came in as warm favourites, and they will win as expected, but they've had to fight, and they've been kept to a very low tally in what are excellent conditions.
So Dwyer, as we get down to the last 5.5 minutes of this game, there's no doubt that Collingwood are going to win it now. Cloak marking right on the Melbourne interchange bench. Kicks down the line, beautiful kick. Pendlebury should have marked that. He was in two minds whether to take it in front or on the chest. In the end, he didn't either, and he curses himself, just as you can see there. And matches to come for the Demons, as we've mentioned. Essendon, North Melbourne, the Western Bulldogs and Fremantle. So, I mean, all runs are tough for Melbourne. And that's an interesting do.
I don't think you ever ran with that hairdo either, Das.
No, not part of my setup, but he's a regular, that man. He's a...
Put Max Gawn's beard on him and he would look weird.
He's not your atypical Demons member.
No, he's an outcast.
He's confused.
Yeah.
Looks pretty loyal, though.
He's a regular, that man. We've seen him before here.
Very earnest look and knows the game well. Just great to see all the Melbourne supporters here. They're sensing something, not necessarily in the short term, but the mid to long term. Umpire Lee Fisher awarding the free to Brodie Grundy. I think he said Brodie Holland then, didn't he? This man's name is Grundy, Lee. Grundy with the fluoro orange wheels going. Cloak gets a little bit of a run at it, just interrupted in the middle of it. And now Viney. Melbourne through Garland. Little kick pushed off at Thomas. Fast hands over the top. Got to go. Two for the tackle. Dwyer perhaps got into the back. Nate Jones almost threw it out the back door there. Umpire lets it go. Here's Viney and Grundy. Viney soccering back. Dawes to attack it. Picked it up. Got Marley Williams wearing him very, very closely. And now the Pies in control.
Swan. Long ball. Cloak again. He's got Dunn to beat. Dunn's been good all afternoon. He's done a very good job on a very strong man. Beams, can he get another? We just work it backwards to an old mate. They are a formidable opposition to curtail this Collingwood outfit. When you look and you've got Pendlebury, Swan, Beams, Thomas the youngster almost, and Kennedy Harris just gets hands on the football, threads it through the middle. So the youngsters combine. Something late may be coming up here. Well, it's an ugly...
Well, that's been a real issue. Yeah, they butchered it today at times, Melbourne, going forward. They had opportunities there. Colin Garner, that's probably been pushed forward, and some horrible turnovers.
The Pies right now, Das, are going to turn, having played 11, 8-3. It's a very good hand at the casino. You double down and hope for a face card, but they have set their back half up perfectly.
Yeah, and what I think he was talking about before is that they feel like they are going to get better in the second half. If Cloak can lift his rating by 10 or 15%, if they can just get a few more games into these guys combining now, Frost and Langdon. They're less than 20 games, both of them as key defenders week in, week out. They stay sound. You might see one of these young recruits come through. They're in good shape.
Young with a sizzling low footy to Goldsack on the lead. Good stuff. The Maggies are going to go 6-1 at the G this year. Their only loss here to Geelong back in round 3. And the sack will line up from basically directly in front.
He's in career best form, the sack, I think. He just looks like he loves playing footy at the moment.
Pretty easy look, not a lot of angle about it. And he's missed it out to his right-hand side. He's disappointed in himself. So we get down to the last 2 minutes of this game, and it is a 32-point Collingwood lead.
Das, interesting line this morning in the paper. Mark Robinson talked about how Paul Roos, when he arrived, had basically erased the scars of the past, changed the style of the football club, and he said the first 3 months of the pre-season were really therapy sessions rather than practice sessions.
Yeah, it's remarkable, isn't it? That's what you had to do. You had to pare it back that far. He also said, I'm going to make sure that our percentage is better. We are going to be in games more often, and he's achieved that.
Well, Bale not quite able to clunk it. And again, these Magpie defenders do exactly what they need to do. Swan, chased by Salem, still has the composure to put it into the hands of the youngster, and he buys some territory. It'll drop in between both Cloak and Witts. Witts really clever to Dwyer, and he's got a bit of pace over the top. Well, Beams should have the legs against the old dog, and now the new demon. He won't be able to sneak it through, but another glimpse of the brilliance that is Dane Beams.
I think a fairly accountable role on Dane Beams, and a very accountable role, Daniel Cross, but he's still up to 19 possessions and a couple of goals. Dane Swan was quite early. He finishes with, you know, probably 25 plus. Pendlebury had a hard tag, BT, and he just finds a way to still have a massive impact.
Very impressive early in the game, Pendlebury. Had 25 touches for the game. Has Langdon just becoming Mr. Reliable. Him and Frost, the dynamic duo down there in the back half for Collingwood. This will put Collingwood in a very nice position at the halfway mark, basically, of 8-3. Nicely placed, a point in which they can start to look forward to the second half of the year and get the right minutes into each player with a little rest here and there. Thomas out of the congestion. Out wide looking for Blair. Lyndon Dunn to the rescue to help Jetta there. Garland back in the Jetta direction. Off the one step. Gee, Cross has got to go here. He's surrounded by Magpies. Got the little kick away. Matt Jones, Turlick. And now Tyson.
Good learning day for Dom Tyson too. Hard tag. McCaffer has really restricted his output today. Just 16 disposals.
Garland run down on the Mully. Williams tackle there. So this is going to be win number 8 for Collingwood here today. They do it in good style, but it was not easy. Melbourne pressed and pressed all the way. And there's a lot to like about the Demons, but the Pies are in good form at the moment.